Oh, are we live? Oh my God. Oh my God. Are we live? I'm gonna drink some water. You never really know with Facebook. I don't know if you've done live before, but you never really know the moment you go live. So, but you do know eventually that you are live. Welcome! Welcome to the nighttime nasty, where we get into some specific points, some general points, but it's about thinking about stuff you never thought of before so that things in your life can work better and you can address what's going on inside of yourself, which is what expresses itself that you get in your environment. So you're actually taking care of both. Two birds stoned at once. When you take care of what's inside of yourself, you will naturally take care of what's outside of yourself. Hey, Beverly. How you doing, girl? Beverly's amazing. So, today, with the nighttime nasty, are emotions what make us human? Emotions and feelings? I don't know how long this thing will be. Maybe long, maybe short. Who knows? But what's important is that if you're watching right now, say hello. I want to see who you are, see what's going on. Drop a little likey poo. Maybe share it. Get a little watch party going because we're about to talk about something that's really near and dear to my heart. And that's about heart. Now, I'm just making stuff up, but seriously, there is an important point of consideration in this video. If you haven't yet already considered it, and if you have considered it before, then I would say that it's something that you can dive deeper on. Beverly, let me know if my microphone sounds loud enough. So I'm playing with it right now. Because she says she's in it for the duration. I see you 5 watchers. I see you guys. Drop a comment. Don't be shy. Don't be supercilious. Don't be clandestine. Don't be lurking in the shadows. Hey, I want you to look up the word, if you can, react. And in the meantime, let me tell you something. I know a lot of the times, if you've investigated self-perfected, if you've investigated the principles and things like that in the podcast that we have, we talk a lot about removing the emotion that's going on within you so that, thank you, Bev, for sound checking the mic. We talk a lot about removing the emotion that's obstructing you from seeing things directly. Consider, and I know a lot of the times if we're saying, hey, you got to stop living for your emotions and feelings and live for principle, people will be like, oh, so you just want to be robots. They look at my life, they look at other people in the group's lives, Mitchell and Cameron and all that. They're all robots, and when they hang out, all they do is, plug each other's circuits into one another and just bzz. I'll tell you, out of all the friends that I've had throughout my life, I have more fun with these guys than ever. And girls. Everybody in there is just so fun. We were in Texas a couple weeks ago, and it was just, you wake up, eat, play, do your process, right? And just sing, dance, talk about cool stuff, watch a movie, read a book. It's crazy how cool life can be. I mean, in Ottawa here, we just had this meeting of I think it was about 10 of us, and all we did was connect. We sat around a big fucking round table, and we all went around sharing what the hell's going on, and what we have to share, whatever, and what we're looking forward to in 2021. And everybody loved it, and it was special. It was special because we don't get that anymore, right? Now, I'm just giving you a peep into the little pockets of what my life looks like. People might think that we're talking about being robots. They think Cameron is a robot, unfeeling robot, Mitchell's a robot. It's not true. It's not true at all. We just know how to support our common sense to take principle over our feelings. In other words, despite how we might feel about having to step up and tell somebody the right thing, even if our feelings might tell us don't do it, we'll still be willing to do it, right? And Beverly, if you look up the origin, because Beverly's posting in the comments, react means respond or behave in a particular way in response to something. Act, behave, proceed. If you look up the origins to the word react, feel free to drop that in the chat. So then we're talking about removing your emotion from particular points. Well, something to consider is reality is objective. Reality is objective, okay? If you want to dispute that, please leave a comment, send me a personal message, we'll talk. But reality is objective. It's in the definition of reality, okay? It's what's real. You can look at something, you say, tree, that's a tree, right? How you feel about the tree is the subjective part. That's a beautiful tree. That's an ugly tree. That's just the subjective part. And what I would suggest is that thing that we hold so near and dear to us, how we feel about things, and we think that's what makes us special and unique. What we don't realize is that that's what actually is all the same in all of us. We have this illusion of, I feel different about something, therefore it's special. We have an illusion of choice, but it's not. It's kind of like if you're choosing between Honda or a Toyota. You're like, I'm a Honda guy because blah, 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 blah. And I'm a Toyota guy because that's who I would never buy a Honda. And on the higher level, I would never buy a Benz. I'm all about the Beamers or vice versa. It's like, or on the highest end, I would never buy a Lango. A Lambo. I said Lango. I would never buy a Lambo. I need the most foreign car that I could possibly imagine. I don't know. So the point is, that's not choice. That's just two differences that just lead to consumerism, buying a car. Like it's not special, right? Practically speaking, it's like you need a house, you need a car. Okay, you bought a house, you bought a car. It doesn't make you special. Now, when we're talking about what makes us actually special, how would you even be able to figure it out if you're still stuck on just trying to, for example, focus on your basic identity, or like just trying to make money, or just trying to like not be anxious? You'll never be able to express yourself to the degree that you actually are unique, if that makes sense. No, don't get me wrong. Like, it's very obvious what makes us unique because no two people look exactly the same, even twins, right? And even so, it's like one of them, their voice is going to sound different, all that. That part of uniqueness doesn't matter, okay? So going back to the point of how people might interpret removing your emotions or removing the subjectivity in order for you to be able to see reality straight on, okay? That doesn't mean become a robot. The argument being what this video is titled. But emotions are what make us humans. Emotions are what make me human. Emotions and feelings are what makes us a human being. Let me ask you a question. Emotions and feelings come up as a reaction. Yeah? If we don't agree there, again, send me a message. We'll talk about it. But emotions and feelings come up as a reaction or from a stimulus in your environment. So you see something, you hear something, you feel something, like physically, and then you emotionally feel stuff. If you look at the word react, the definition, respond or behave in a particular way in response to something. React. You don't have to believe in anything I say, because the good news is I'm just referencing what we've all accepted as language. In other words, what we've all accepted as reality. React. If you break down the two parts of that word, act means to do, and re means again. It's not a secret. You just got it backwards. I had it backwards. That's why I'm taking apart this point. It's because I used to believe that, and I was like, oh shit. I'm here to you know what the point of the nighttime nasty is for? It's for us to obviously get real dirty and nasty, but really it's to walk you through the same points of understanding that I needed to develop in order to, understand what I know now and understand how to take my relationships and my money and my all that stuff to the next level. So the look at that word, react. It's to do again. Isn't that exactly what a robot would do? Just do it over and over and over and over and over again. That's what makes you a robot. If I know that there's a set of words that I can speak to you and you're going to react a certain way, doesn't that make you a robot? Okay, in other words, okay, watch this, okay? This is going to be a little experiment and an experience. Imagine right now on this live video, those of you who are watching, okay? I want you to consider this and consider what comes up inside you. Right now, I just start saying the N-word. I just started saying the N-word out of nowhere. I don't know you, but how do I know? Wouldn't you feel something? You'd be like, where is this coming from? It'd be like, you would feel something, right? How do I know that? Obviously, I'm not even talking to any specific one person, but what I know is that you're programmed just like I am, like a fucking robot. I know that if this sound leaves my mouth and it hits your ears, it's going to manipulate your circuitry and you're going to feel stuff. That's not what makes you human. That's what makes you a robot. Okay? This is actually the reason why marketing exists. It's because they know that we're robots. This is why an education system exists. It's a system of education that says, okay, we got all these blank robots. We want to program them for what we want in society. Does that make sense? That's what the education system's for. It's a system of taking a blank slate and then impressing upon it what they want that slate to be, whoever created the education system, right? So, I hope that gives context to what actually makes us a robot. And by process of elimination, that's not what makes you human. The part that makes you human. Thanks for the feedback, Bev. The part that makes you human, but the part that makes you a god, a creator. We'll talk about that stuff more another time. What is it? Huh? Any guesses? Think about it. You have people and robots, right? And eventually, robots are going to be so advanced that they're almost indistinguishable from human beings, right? The part of you that thinks that you're better than a robot for some reason, if you really look at the reason why you think that, that's the part that makes you a robot. In other words, you'll use some example like free will or, consciousness or something like that. But those two things are programmable. Like, if I gave you the option between an apple and an orange, and you chose the orange instead of the apple, we call that free will, not realizing that you're just choosing the two things that I presented to you. So it's like you don't have the free will to figure out how I'm in this position and why I'm the guy presenting stuff to you. In other words, we think that when we decide to take this career path, that we're exercising our free will and I'm choosing what I want to do with my life. It's like, no, you're not. You're just a product of your environment. You're literally just a product of your environment. You're not special. I'm not special. And basically, when I started acknowledging that, good things started to happen, and I'll explain. But realize we're not special. We're not special in the way that you think. We are unique, and we all have particular points about us that if we express ourselves on the greatest degree, you'll see the difference between people. But because we're so wrapped up in the world that we want rather than the world that we actually live in, we think, oh, no, things are great, I don't have to worry about money, and then you put yourself in a position where you have to worry about money because you're not taking into account you actually have to worry about money in this world. And by worry, I don't mean stress about it. I mean always have it in consideration, right? Because if you don't, then you can't eat, right? So when I started to acknowledge the truth about the human being, that what I think differentiates me from a robot isn't actually what differentiates me from a robot, when I started to realize that, it's when I started to realize how we learn. And we'll talk about that more in the future. I'm going to say that a fucking million times on this podcast, so I hope it doesn't irk you too much. Hey, if you're watching, I see 6 people watching. Feel free to drop a little comment or something. So just say a little hello, a little, give me a little wave or something, just so I can see. But when I started looking at that, what I learned from it was, well, wait a second. Why do companies spend billions of dollars, billions of monies on advertisement, on marketing, on brand recognition? Because they know that we're robots. They know that we're robots, and they know that if they find the right stimulus for this robot, it will go into the robot, and then the robot will start making decisions based on what they've seen. Okay? This is a process of education. Not good education, but education, right? Education is just what you get programmed to do. That's what marketing is for. If you don't realize that we're actually all just fucking robots, programmable to the max, then you don't understand how the world works at all. That's why I'm making this, right? The point of marketing is to impulse robots with what to buy. That's it. It is a formula, and the formula is symbol plus energy equals imprint. That's basically it. I'm going to say that another way. Symbol plus emotions equals imprint, equals stuck inside of you. In other words, all I have to do is show you a Nike swoosh right after I played a minute of a piano. I used to think I was weak. I used to think I wasn't good enough. It's me like tying my shoes and like shooting free throws in the gym and all this stuff until, I pushed through all my fears, blah, 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 and I became a fucking master. Unbelievable. Slow motion. Trying to take the buzzer beater, and I'm like, and then through the net. Oh my god! And you're just going at it, and everyone's loving it, and you're on fire, and you're feeling like you're in the fucking commercial. And then at the end of it, the main character, the protagonist, he says, "All I had to tell myself, just do it." Nike swoosh. It's like, what the fuck was the point of that? Doesn't Nike sell shoes? Like, or do they sell like motivational programs? You know what I'm saying? So clearly the point of marketing isn't to say, hey, look at the shoe. It's the best shoe that you can wear, right? It's literally that, Drake. It's literally just get that emotion and then, ha! Here's our logo. So then, because they're slipping it in subliminally, it's subliminal. Mail wants to buy some Jordans now. Hell yeah. Right? Because I just showed you some air pumps, air dunks. Because of that, Because it's happening outside of your awareness, right? You go to the store, you're at friggin' Sport Check. I don't know where you're watching this, but you're at your local shoe dealer, okay? And you're walking down, you're looking for shoes. You know you want to buy some shoes. Or, not even necessarily you want to buy some shoes. But then a particular shoe catches your eyes. It could be for a multitude of reasons. Color is a big factor. This is why, if you don't know that you're robots, well, where do you think the concept the woman in the red dress comes from? Why do you think women put on red lipstick all the time? Why do you think every freaking person does the same things? They dress a certain way to influence a certain something inside of you, right? That's why girls, they show the cleavage and all that stuff. Because we're fucking robots. If dudes see that, they're going to react a certain way. Okay? All of a sudden, you're in the shoe store and your attention gets drawn to check out a particular pair of shoes. What you don't realize is the reason that happened is because you got just impulsed with so many goddamn billboards, commercials, advertisements, print ads, that you were just in your unconscious awareness. Watch this. I'm going to point out one thing. Close your eyes for a second. If you're listening to this and you're not driving, close your eyes. Okay, close your eyes. If you are driving, keep your eyes open. You can still do this. Put your awareness on the bottom of your feet. Now put your awareness on the clothing on your shoulders. Now put your awareness to the pants on your thighs. You can open your eyes now. Example's over. The point is, your body is taking in way more information than you think. And it's just where you direct your awareness, that's what you're aware of. But just because you're not aware of something, does that mean it's not there? Of course not. That's why people get cancer and ulcers and all different kinds of disease. Because they are suppressing aspects of themselves. Right? That's what. Yeah, anyways, I'm going to go too much into that. But, Jesus Christ, I'm going to get in trouble here. I'm on Facebook. I got to remember that. And eventually this will be on YouTube, too. And if you're watching it right now, maybe it's on YouTube. But right now I'm recording it, so relax. I'm dealing with multiple parallel universes here. So the point is, there's a lot happening inside of you and on the, surface of you and all that stuff through your neurology that you're not aware of. One of those things is how you've been influenced through marketing to just be attracted to that particular shoe. Your conscious reasoning won't tell you it's because you think if you buy that shoe, you're going to become unstoppable, because it's not the case, obviously. Because if that were to be in your awareness, you'd be like, well, that's a stupid reason to buy these shoes, right? But it's subliminal. That's why it's so effective, okay? Another way this is done is through restaurants, fast food. A great example of this. Why would there be a Tim Hortons, a Dunkin' Donuts, a McDonald's every 3 blocks, a Subway franchise, scattered 5 of them in the same city, same town, right? How would that be beneficial to the other franchise owners? Well, think about it like this. You're driving through, you get the impulse that you're hungry, and you see a Subway, but you keep driving. You keep driving, and your body recognizes, even if you're just driving, you're thinking about other stuff, you just kind of look this way, you keep driving, you looked at a Subway right there. And then finally you get close to home, and then you're like pulling by the Subway. You're like, oh, let me pull in here, grab the Subway sandwich. It's because you got impulsed with it 4 times before. I know I only did 3, so don't be too meticulous on me. But it's because you got impulse with it multiple times before that day, that within the last hour. That's how McDonald's works. It's like you keep getting impulse with the golden arches, and eventually you just walk into one of them, right? So, hopefully by now you're convinced that the world knows, the corporations know that you are a robot. that I am a robot. The sooner you accept that, the sooner you'll be effective in programming yourself like a robot to get the output that you want. The point of view that holds on to trying to be a real boy, the point of view that holds on to say, no, that's not me, that's what's keeping you fucked up. Because I guarantee you, you're not happy with your life. I guarantee that you're not happy with every aspect of your life. I'm self-honest enough to say that. I have no fear about saying that. But who would be the person that is afraid to say, you don't know me, my life's great? Who would be the person that's afraid to acknowledge the parts of their life that they don't like? Wouldn't it be the person who doesn't think they can change it? Wouldn't it be the person who doesn't think they can change their situation? Me, I no longer worry about that anymore, because I know it's just a matter of using the tools that we have available to us. Small group of people, relative to the world is what I'm comparing it to. But we use the tools that have available to us to reprogram ourselves like robots. And the sooner I accepted that, damn, I really am a reprogrammable robot, that's when my life started working. Because that's when I understood how to work with my emotions, how to work with my feelings, and how to support other people to do the same. So, you know, the real reason why I said all of this is really for you to understand that any reactions that come up to listening to me, any point within you that you hear me fuck up a word like 5 times throughout this and make a bunch of mistakes, and you're like, it keeps you from paying attention to what I'm saying because you're busy laughing at, oh, he screws up his words. Any point like that, you got to work through your reactions. You got to look at your reactions and being able to and take them apart. Because I'm not sharing necessarily information that I just thought of myself. I'm just sharing with you synthesized information that I've gotten from all walks of life, from all different kinds of informational backgrounds, studies, schools of thought, formal, informal, mainstream, fringe, you name it. And I've synthesized this for myself and distilled it down to the parts that are necessary to understand in order to live a good life, in order to live, I apologize, the best life. I used to be stuck on the good life thing. I used to want the good life. I want the best life. Now, when I say I want the best life, I'm not talking about my life. I'm doing air quotes for those of you just listening. Because we all live in one life. I'm sharing my life with you guys. I'm sharing my life with you right now, based off the little comments that you guys are leaving, the little likes that you leave, the people who subscribe. You don't think that affects me? Of course it affects me. And I would hope that these words are affecting you. But let that show that when I say I want to live the best life, it includes all of us together. That's why I'm sharing this stuff. It's because I know that if everybody understood this and took on the process of reprogramming, re-educating their internals, this world would be a better place. People would have better relationships. Shout out Joel Boudreau. He wants the best life as well. And I see that in you, man, because you looked at it for yourself and you're like, okay, now I understand that, well, I work like a robot. And I see you applying that process of change, which we have tools for that I'll be introducing to you later in these. If you want to figure it out faster, then just go to self-perfected.com and join the Facebook group, and there we'll actually be able to chat a lot more. But the point is, as we go throughout these, we're gonna talk about a lot of challenging things. We're gonna talk about a lot of things that will make you react. And what I'm suggesting is, I'm just here to guide you to the tools. And once you have the tools and you can process things really effectively, and you become like the dude Bradley Cooper in the movie Limitless, you take the drug and you're effective. You can really process your environment and what's going on in this world. Then that's when you'll be able to figure it all out. I'm just here to plant enough seeds to tell you there's more to life than you know. So come on and discover it with us so that you go do it. That's all. So obviously, if you look around at this world, you should realize that we're robots. It's the same sequence of events that we do every single time to bring life into this world. Right? It's sex. I'm talking about sex. But you see, it's just like we go through this sequence, in other words, like a program running a series of code, a series of instructions, and it produces life. And then that life, or that organic robot, comes with pre-installed instructions, software. It says, this is how you breathe. This is how your heart beats. This is how the blood flows. This is how the cells divide. All that's good stuff, right? But the point is, that is all synonymous with a robot. In fact, we create in the image and likeness of ourselves. That's why we created the freaking computer that works just like us. It's not a coincidence. So, the application of understanding that we're robots would be to utilize that. And when you experience emotions or reactions coming up inside of you, don't go with them as if they're the truth. Don't run with them as if those are the ones. Because that was just put inside of you. That was put inside of you, not by yourself, by other people. So if you're following your emotions and you think you're so self-righteous because you have free will, you're actually not following yourself. Shit. Think about that. If you think exercising free will is like, I chose those shoes because the thing that nobody can take away from me, the thing that only I experience that's unique to me is my feelings and emotions. And that's what guided me. That's what drawed me. That's what attracted me to these shoes. That was programmed into you. Now watch this. Swap the shoe for career path. Swap the shoe for my purpose. It's like, you didn't choose that. You're just following a feeling that was given to you. And this goes for basically everything. So the question is, well, if you're not going to follow your feelings, what do you do? Well, I guess I'll have to save that for another nasty night. Because there's only so much we can take at one time, yeah? So the point to hold from this is your emotions and feelings are not what makes you human. It's what makes you a robot. If it's predictable, it's programmable. Programmable, robotic, perfect, etc. It's just like a toaster. If I put the dial to 4.5 and I put the toast in and it pops up golden brown every time, that's perfect. That's a form of perfection. It's predictable. All right? Not necessarily ideal every time, okay? The point is to look at is it's predictable. Now if you really look at it, if the human being is the same way, what makes them so different than a robot? Isn't that why people say, you're really pushing my buttons right now? You really know how to push my buttons. Exactly. Like it's like automated inside of us to test people. Because we know, hey, if I do this, this person will react that way, isn't it? So take that away with you tonight or today, whenever you're watching this. I don't know, or listening. But the reason I wanted to do this as among the first ones in the series is because, again, we're going to be talking about a lot of challenging things. And I wanted you to have this with you in your back pocket so that you don't just assume that because you're reacting, because it's emotional, therefore what I'm saying is wrong. I had to go through a lot of that in my life, and I wasted a lot of time thinking that because it's upsetting me, because if I feel it's wrong, therefore it is wrong. But that's obviously not true. So what I would say is support yourself in when you notice a reaction come up within you. When you notice I say something and then you start feeling stuff and you start thinking stuff. No, that's not. Make a note of that. Make a note of that if you can. If for those of you who are fanatical and who want to like explode and progress really, 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 really fast, make note of those. Because when you have the right tools and the right process, then you can start taking those apart. And for those of you who already have those tools and processes, then you can jump right into it. Then you know what your next step is, right? Well, other than that, if you're watching this on YouTube, check the description for links to a link to self-perfected.com, where we have a list of principles, and you can also get to the Facebook group, which is self-perfected. And you'll see why people call that group the greatest group on Facebook ever. Because, I mean, imagine a bunch of people in a community that all want to see the world as the best place ever. And they're willing, this is the fun part, they're willing to actually change themselves in order to get there. Doesn't that sound pretty cool? If it does, go to self-perfected.com. It's a really basic, it's not a sexy website right now. But you just go to the website, then you'll be able to see links to different cool stuff. Otherwise, feel free, send me a message. If you're watching this on YouTube, go to my Facebook and send me a message. asif.nazerally, asifnazerally. But otherwise, that's all for the nighttime nasty. Remember that you're a freaking robot. Start acting like one. No, I'm just kidding. You don't have to act like a robot. You already do. Knowing that you're a robot, consider your reactions. Consider what stimulus is going into you, and then you have like a canned response to it, right? And you can become aware of those things because there is something that does make us human. Or there is something that makes us life. And we'll talk about that another time. All right? So until next time, stay nasty.